So that's really cool.
Okay. Smile.
Oh, dang, I gotta look at the camera, not over here.
I know, right? You try not to look over there. Yeah. Well, hey, guys. I'm Gabriel Fancher, and I'm here with Jeremy Wenger. And I said that right?
Yes.
You probably, people slaughter it all the time.
All right.
Okay. Great. And this is live in Murfreesboro. And here I like to talk to people that are, I think, affecting Murfreesboro. They're bringing business and ideas to the area. And Jeremy has a really cool business that he's. How long have you been with Chat Faster?
Yeah, so Chat Faster is fairly new, but
okay.
in automation, I've been playing around with it for about a year.
All right.
And
can you explain what automation is?
Yeah, I mean, well, so we have the different processes that work for us manually. And so automation comes in to help find out where is the most friction and help alleviate that, whether it be on getting new customers and having them schedule appointments, and also workflow processes too.
Sure.
So it's really helping to free up that busyness so that way people can become more creative and develop and amplify the human experience.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really fun. It's not to replace a person.
So, right, it's to make a person more productive,
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. Mm-hmm. And I've looked into it myself. I can't quite figure it out. And so that's why I would call you, right? Yeah. Call Ghostbusters. So, because, there are, so basically tell me how would I use your service? Like, as a realtor, how would I use it?
Well, so for acquisition for you,
mm-hmm.
A lot of times you have an open house. You just came from an open house.
Sure.
Say someone comes in, however you're pushing traffic, when people want to look at a house and you want to screen them.
Of course.
And so one of the biggest things is that you don't want to have somebody that is just kind of shopping around.
Okay.
You want to have them to where they have the right budget. They know where they're qualified.
Right.
And to be able to say, look, this is the kind of money that I've allocated to it. And this is where also too, my credit score.
Sure. Right. Am I a good buyer?
Am I a good fit?
Right.
And so with these different kind of questions in this process of your sales process, that's where if they don't, then they can be disqualified and downsold or just put off to somebody else.
Sure. And I've got processes for that sort of thing. But and so do you guys do it through email, through chat, through text? Is it all those things? Or
well, so primarily, like I said, it's through Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
And so a lot of times when it comes to online social media, there's a lot of inquiries. There's a lot of even FAQs.
Okay.
A lot of people want to know more about who is Gabriel Fancher.
Right.
And so that's not good. But how just answering commonly asked questions. So that way you don't have to spend the time always answering them.
Sure.
Then when they're going through the screening process, if you have a community, if you have a Facebook group,
right?
If you have somewhere where you're being able to give people ideas, especially with being here in Murfreesboro, there's different places that people can go to.
Sure.
There's different even testimonials.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Even applicants for your company too.
Right.
There's other realtors that want to come on. People are inquiring about that. They can go through and look at the different perks of the company and go through that process. And
so anything that you could repeat, that's what.
Yeah.
Right. So that way you don't find yourself repeating yourself all day long. Right? I get it. And so that's a lot of sense. And so, so how did you get into this?
I grew up in blue collar. I had a tree company for almost 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And originally from Alabama.
Okay.
And so I just worked with him for 6 years growing up. And after he passed away, I worked with a landscaping company. And I spearheaded their marketing and branding and overhauled some of their back-end services and to find out what was really producing the most money. And so went in and we did very healthy, did multiple six figures in 9 months, and it was great. And I went overseas to be a missionary for a year.
Oh, wow.
And went through a couple of years of just growing and personally being able to find out, and that's how we actually got connected. And
sure. Right.
And that's where when they found the guy that was accused for my dad's 6-year cold case back in 2016.
Oh, my.
That's what I really started. My heart was just a switch was flipped.
Okay.
And I started to get back into the entrepreneur scene and to get connected with people that are high level performers, business owners that are doing 7 figures. And I started to see that the stress level was at an all-time high. And it's almost like 2018 is a year of systems because where people are wanting to simplify their life.
Sure.
So that way they can have more time to invest in their family.
Right.
And one of the biggest things that I've seen is that the people who are fired up, who are passionate about what they do, they fizzle out sometimes. And that or they feel like they're held back.
Right, because you've got these things like these fires that you have to put out, or
the fires you got to put out, the
hiring, and
the babysitting,
right,
all these different aspects of it. How can we go through the entire ecosystem of someone's business and look at, okay, this is the acquisition side of it, where they're getting customers. How can we decrease the friction on this? How, when they do close the person, how can we also decrease the friction on their workflow? So this way, their internal team has streamlined communication, but also everyone's on the same page. And if you can do one thing on your KPI, on your key performance indicators, to be able to do one thing and ricochet to everything else, why not?
Right.
And so that way you can inadvertently be able to spend that time with your family or your loved ones.
It's like the 80-20 rule, right?
Absolutely.
You can speed up how you do that 20%. You're going to 80% of your business will be better.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. When I first met you, I was interested in how much energy you brought to the table, right? And a lot of people don't, right? Most people don't. They don't do videos. They don't, right? They just don't do that sort of thing. And I've always thought that you were ahead of the curve, and so that's why I wanted to bring you on. And here you are talking about things that are way ahead of the curve. Do you see, like, so you mentioned early on, you said that your product is not to replace a person.
Absolutely not.
Right. And so do you feel that people are afraid that it would?
That's one of the things that we encounter a lot.
Okay.
That whenever I'm talking with people, that's one of the number one questions that came up with automation and robotics, or even artificial intelligence, is it going to replace a human being? And I said, the lazy ones. And
yes.
And the biggest thing is
about
a company is that if the leadership is not pouring into the employees or their team to grow, then that's an issue.
Sure.
Because culture is everything.
Totally.
And that's where if people are not leveling up and growing, then the company's not going to innovate, and they will die. And they'll be like next Toys R Us.
Sure. Or any other thing that's on the side of the road right now.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
No, and
that I passed by way here.
Innovation is so important, and because we're in a very competitive market.
Absolutely.
Right. And used to, it was only certain industries that were really competitive. I found now that everything is competitive, from restaurants to everything.
I'm gonna get mine.
Right.
That's the mindset.
Exactly. And so and as a consumer, I find that it's great, right? But as a business person, sometimes
pressure's on.
Right. You wish that. like I tell people when they're like, "Hey, I think I want to be a realtor," and I'm like, "Yeah, you should." I was like, "There's 20 in this room right now." They're like, "There's only 2 people in here, right? It's you and me, right?" I'm like, "Well, they're under that desk, probably hiding out, But there are tons and tons of realtors out there, and so the key to being a good realtor is finding tools to make you faster, better, smarter,
cleaner,
exactly.
stronger.
That's right, all those things, exactly. So, wow, and I'm gonna have to take a closer look at what you guys offer, because, like I said, I know that this is where it's going.
Yeah,
it
has to be done right with empathy.
Sure.
That's when someone has the ability to be able to integrate technology into a practice. What happens is the ugly side of it is that they try to replace the human being and outsource the relationship, but that's where the magic happens.
Sure.
And it's looking at how we're part of the like we were talking about LinkedIn. Is that with what are some of the processes that, because delegation is the oldest form of automation.
Okay.
But however, you can't delegate effectively if you don't have a system in place.
That's right.
And that's where with the 4 quadrants of like what is urgent, what's most important, not urgent, not important.
Right.
A lot of times we have to stay focused on what's the most urgent and what's the most important, and then go to that down A, B, C, D.
Sure.
And that's where finding out what is the most, how can we find the biggest frustration? What is where do you feel handcuffed at?
Sure.
And then how can technology actually because automation is not for everyone right now. Everyone's at different places in their business.
Right.
And that's what is so important, is that because a lot of times people, they don't take it from an economical standpoint and look at the business ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are at startup phases in their business.
Sure.
And a lot of times the financial resources are not in support, but there's a reason for that. Sales are the result of service, right?
Right.
And so that's why is where how can we go through and find a good fit for someone, even if it's in their follow-up.
Sure.
Because a lot of times, they're good at their elbow grease,
right,
but they're not up to a point where they can actually have something that is converting and working.
Right.
That's the number one question is, what are you doing right now? Where are you getting your clients from? And what's your close rate? what are your conversion rates?
Sure.
And because you can't, I mean, it's one thing to polish turd, but it's another thing expected to be a steak dinner. You know?
Right.
And
Sure.
it's something that it's very important to make sure that whatever technology is introduced is that it amplifies the human relationship and the touch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it completely contradicts the brain, the mission, the tone of that person's business. Because otherwise, it's just like I said, just defeats the purpose.
Sure.
It has to amplify that person's mission. Otherwise, it will eventually erode it. And it's not
Yes, right. It's like sending out spam emails.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like that's automation, right? You know,
Oh yeah.
You
Drip
know,
campaigns.
and drip campaigns, and and of course I've got those things and stuff, but people hate that.
Yeah.
Right. They do. They hate it.
They do.
And so I've been trying to take my foot off the gas pedal, so to speak, on the emails that mean nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
strategic.
And I think that's the real key. And we mentioned that before we got this video going about how important it is for people to be strategic with their social media, and and that goes with everything, because we're under constant attack right for our attention.
No kidding.
Right. So you want to make sure that not only are you loud and out there, but you're loud and out there and saying something.
Yeah.
You're listening to it. Right. Exactly. Right. And so with this interview thing, of course, I talk about Murfreesboro, but I really like talking about someone's business and their passion. And then, what I really think is neat is how you mentioned like the quadrants, and there's little things that I've heard you say that I'm like, I've read that before.
Yeah.
And so therefore I know that you're a well-read guy, and I always felt like you remind me a lot of a young Grant Cardone. I mean, seriously. I know, right? But like that guy's a multimillionaire now, so that's a compliment. But because I feel like you're looking for what's next, and when it comes along, you're going to be there, and this might be it, which is awesome. So
it just comes from the passion of being there for people. Because like my heart hurts when I see someone that is driven, and they have a good purpose, they have a good message, but when they aren't being able to catch people and bring them along in that journey and that experience, that's when everything just falls apart.
I see.
And that's why we have that old saying, fortunes doesn't follow, right?
Sure.
And that's why with automation, because people have had such a bad taste in their mouth, I mean, think about with social media. Think about it with we'll use a complete left field example with network marketing. Yeah, that is a structure that is good, but if the product is great, then fantastic.
Right.
But there's a stereotype with everything.
Sure.
And that's why going back to automation is that looking at Siri, looking at Google Assistant.
Right.
I use Google Assistant all the time.
Sure.
I'll be driving.
Yeah, Google Assistant. I have Google Assistant on my iPhone.
Oh man.
Google's smarter than Siri.
Don't
tell Siri. Siri and I, we have
an understanding.
Yeah, we don't get along very well. I call her lots of bad names.
She probably calls them bad.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, so,
she's like, I don't intend that.
Well, with Siri, you have to speak her language.
Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of how life is, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't speak someone's language, you're going to have problems. Yeah. I have problems with Siri because I don't speak her language.
Right.
And so you have to say things a certain way and don't stutter. And so when I'm trying to get her to take a text message, I stutter. So that's why we have a problem.
Me and Google Assistant have the same issue sometimes.
Okay.
So I got to slow it down.
Sure. I read on a blog that you have to think about what you're going to say before you say it, especially with Siri. Yes. But yes, it's a good idea. Right?
It's a good idea in general.
Yeah. Totally. So let's talk about Murfreesboro. How did you end up blowing into town? How did you end up here?
It was about 7 years ago.
Okay.
Just like I needed to move up here. And
from Huntsville.
Yeah, from Huntsville.
Which is a booming town itself.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I just came from there, actually.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's growing.
It is exploding in growth.
It's helpful that we have Nashville here, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. That's the perk over Murfreesboro over Huntsville. But Huntsville has its own apple store.
Oh, that's comparing apples and oranges.
Right.
And literally, because there's different type of people in Huntsville. There's different type of people in Murfreesboro.
All right. What's in Murfreesboro? What kind of people are here?
Good people.
Good. You might read the opposite in the Huntsville area.
I know. Yeah. Don't get twisted.
Yeah. Do not share this to people in Huntsville.
There's good dirt people in Huntsville.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But no, it's a great atmosphere here in Murfreesboro. It is. Being here, it's been nothing but a community, and I love the involvement in giving back.
Sure.
And it's something that is because Huntsville is more of an incubator town. And there are. I mean, you've got a number of huge conglomerates there in Huntsville, and there's brilliant people there. There's also brilliant people here, and that's why
there's probably more engineers.
Oh, absolutely! Oh my gosh! Right. Engineers, architects, and scientists.
Yes,
so, yes.
That's right. So the average education is probably a little bit higher down there,
well,
which is whether good or bad, but it's a fact.
It does help that NASA's down there, and
right.
got Reservoir Arsenal.
Exactly.
So
right.
It's kind of like they pull from.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a melting pot.
Exactly.
But with Murfreesboro, I love the heart in the community. The people that give back, and the people that have their businesses with a purpose that go back to give back.
Sure.
And that's why that's what I love it. That's what it is. That's the only common thing.
It's what makes Murfreesboro really special.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
That's what was the statistic with Rutherford County is that they have more volunteer experience than two of the counties that I'm not going to name combined.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll have to put that in the show notes so that we can do that.
Woodson County and Davidson County.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I mean, I lived in both those counties before I got to Rutherford County, and it's a different world.
It absolutely is.
And so
it's a different feel. It's a different. Every community has their own nature to it.
True.
And that's what I love about Murfreesboro is that it brings another side of me that because I love to travel.
Okay.
I love to travel.
Sure. You spent a year being a missionary, right? So.
And I mean, I'm addicted to traveling.
Okay.
And it's something that with Murfreesboro that when it comes down to it, there's good restaurants here. People know each other.
Sure.
And that's something that and and it's not the same thing about Huntsville or Nashville or anything.
No, it's a big little town.
It is a
big little town.
Absolutely. And people know each other's heart.
Sure.
And that's what I love. And it is something that when you're here, you're grounded, and you get to know each other that are here and grounded.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing.
So when can I sell you a house here in Murfreesboro?
I don't know. I'll let you know.
Do you have any organizations that you donate to, give to, volunteer with? What's on? I know you got a big heart.
Yeah.
So what's your main passion? What's your number one? Where does Jeremy spend his time?
Well, right now it's at Impact Church every year.
Okay.
But one of the things that I'm really passionate about is the American Foundation Suicide Prevention.
Okay.
And because 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I contemplated suicide.
Oh wow.
And that's one of the biggest things is that because people have dreams, and they say that old saying that the richest place in the world is where rich are.
Oh wow.
Because
that's where
dreams
go to die. Sure.
And that's what is that with people they say that people die at 25 and 26, but they're buried at 55. And it's so sad because a lot of times when people are passionate, and that goes back into the automation side of it, is because I want to make sure that the systems are like armor for people's emotions and their soul.
Sure.
Because if you don't have that, then you will fizzle out in that.
Right.
And whether it be metaphorically or physically. And that's where that passion comes into, is it being able to say, look, I get you, I understand. And that's where, because that passion behind suicide and working with people, talking them off the ledge, literally, and helping them come out of depression is where a lot of that came down to them not being able to forgive themselves.
Sure.
And because they felt ashamed for making a mistake.
Right.
Because they weren't prepared.
Sure.
Even if there was an opportunity, they were like, yes! And then they either bit off one look at you, or they weren't able to follow through.
Right.
Whatever reason that was.
Right.
And I mean, it varies between each person, but it's something that with the suicide prevention program is that that's where being able to connect and work with them, that's where we're planning something behind the scenes right now. And it's
okay.
Not with corporate, but there's some things that I've got some buddies with right now that we're planning some really, really cool things.
All right. Well, when you get them ready,
absolutely.
I expect you to come back here so we can share them. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome. And then I always ask this question of people because here in Murfreesboro we like to eat.
Okay.
Right? And do you have a favorite restaurant?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh dude.
There's more than one.
Yes.
So which one's the best?
Church Street.
On Church Street.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you order when you go?
California.
Oh, that's awesome. Great. Excellent choice.
I love it, man. That makes 2 meals for me.
Okay.
Sometimes 1.5. But